Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another XRP update. Just a quick friendly reminder to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Your support means everything to me. Thank you so much. Now, getting right into business, XRP may be ready for a massive move to the upside by the end of this month. Is this current range just a fake out? Well, I still personally don't think so. In fact, we've been talking about this overall range for XRP for quite some time, and I think it's fairly easy to say that we're destined to hit the upper targets of around $3, $50, and $4 range by possibly midsummer or the end of the summer. And that being said, we have two ways for how XRP's price action can unfold, which is basically an impulse to the upside, which we have here, or a larger corrective structure to the upside, which I'll also cover in just a moment. And this means that even with the shorter to medium time frame bearish scenarios, we're still expecting some further upside. And the reason is because we're still well above our major invalidation point of around the $1.60 levels. So let's start off with the first idea here, which is the impulse idea. The key factor here on why we're looking for further upside is because we have a very nicely controlled WXY pullback from January to the April low. And from an Elliott Wave perspective, the most important approach to understanding the context of future wave predictions is making sure that you also have a clear understanding of the preceding waves. And now that we have a ton of data over a relatively long period of time, the predictability of these future waves is far easier to interpret or at least assume, as the Elliott Wave Theory is only based on the fractals of 5s and 3s. And in this case, since we had a variation of a 3-wave move down, the next move to predict is a 5-wave move continuation of some sort. So, of course, the larger context of a corrective structure is also in play if we move up correctively, but we'll go over that in just a second. So, in this case, we are looking for, again, the 5-wave continuation to the upside. If we have a larger degree of wave 1, 2 not complete, we're looking for some kind of beginning structure being created here. And right now, since we did have a really nice move off the lows, if you really look at the totality of it, it's a 60% move. Now, is that a bearish rally, or is that a real impulse beginning structure for what could be a larger bullish move to the upside? In my opinion, with everything aligned with how we're seeing Bitcoin and with overall fundamentals coming back into the markets, I think there's a very good chance that we can start labeling or assuming that this is going to be a wave 1, 2 of some sort. And the only real way that we're doing it, since we're just kind of chopping and creating distribution here, is a possible 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5 to the upside. And that should be creating the larger degree of wave 1. Then we get another pullback for a 2, and then we're off to the races. So this is why I still think that because we have so much data and a long period of time of historical price action since we created from the January high, this move here, just due to the fact that the preceding waves was very largely, in fact, a corrective structure as a WXY, we also have very nice symmetry and geometry within not only the larger waves, but also within the internal wave counts. I mean, if you look at it, the WXY of this X wave, you can see it hit. It's not a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. It hit that 100% level. Equality is what we're looking for, and equality is a very big, important factor when you're trying to figure out the wave counts and also figuring out where the actual targets may be. And equality is something that we also look for in terms of the overall symmetry of these waves. So the next thing is that we also do have symmetry here as well. We have an ABC where the wave A and wave C are equal in length, also equaling the 100%. So you can see that this does seem a little bit programmed, and I think a lot of market makers are taking this into consideration, that with each level being bought and also each level being sold, we have a lot of interest at major points. And right now, this WXY structure clearly justifies how the markets have been playing out for the past few months. So with that being said, this 1, 2, 1, 2, there's really nothing to it other than it's going to be very bullish, meaning that we should be looking for the next round of an expansion to the upside, where this wave 3 is going to be very extended to the upside, which means that we're looking for this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be extended going into that wave 3, have another sideways pullback based on alternation of this. Oh, sorry, it should be actually a sharp correction. We should be looking at this as a sharp correction, just as an assumption. Of course, it doesn't have to be, but since wave 1, 2 was a beginning sideways structure, we can assume that this is going to be a sharp 3, 4, and then we're looking for a 5th wave to the upside. So that's how we're going to be looking at it here. Now, what about the alternative bearish scenario where we may come back and retest these levels? It's also very similar, where we're still utilizing the preceding waves as a WXY. But this is just working as a larger wave 1, 2, where even though that we're still going to be looking for a larger flat idea type of structure where we're just going to be creating equilibrium for the next few months going into possibly the fall, is that if this move here is going to be an ABC where we're replacing this as a 1, 2, this is now looking as a corrective structure as a ABC going into a W. This same idea as an ABC going down for a wave X, and then we should have a similar type of structure going to the upside. However, this move in totality will be a larger WXY structure. Now, again, this is still to be determined. I still like to stick with the impulse idea just with the overall timing of how we're seeing in the crypto markets, especially for Bitcoin. But this is also a very strong possibility because we just are a little bit too early within the actual trend in itself. So again, with a 3-3-5 sequence, this is known as a flat structure, and the variations behind that is that we're looking for an expanded or some kind of running flat. And in this case, since crypto markets are more commonly observing expanded flats since the beginning of crypto, we are looking at what could be a WXY going into wave A, a WXY going into wave B, and then we're looking for some kind of impulse structure to complete off this overall equilibrium range, and then we're off to the races. This should be a strong, massive opportunity for everyone to get back into sub $1 levels, and then we should be looking for much higher levels. In fact, if this happens, this is going to be far more bullish than the actual 1-2-1-2 idea that we're looking for further upside. It's just a matter of instant gratification or longer accumulation to build up more XRP, and I think smart money can side with both things. I think they're just kind of on the sidelines, including me. We're just going to be seeing how this develops, because if we go for a WXY structure, it just means that we don't have enough momentum as an impulse structure, and we just may need a little bit more time to kind of consolidate for a while. But either way, both structures by the end of the summer or even going into a little bit of the early fall with the most bearish scenario as we have here with the flat sequence of a 3-3-5 structure, we're looking for further upside no matter what, ladies and gentlemen. It's all programmed in my opinion, because if you look on the larger time frames, like I said, and we look at the overall structure, we've been talking about this like a broken record player, that this 7-year accumulation with higher lows being created, that's not something to joke around about, ladies and gentlemen. There's people still finding ways on trying to hate XRP from a price action perspective, but let me tell you, it is still extremely bullish. And right now, with these two scenarios in mind, we're just going to be looking for eventual move to the upside with a major blast to the upside. And for those that are hitting on XRP, those people are most likely going to be entering into a position around $4 to $5, $6, and those will be the late buyers. And if you're positioned at $4 to $8, you don't have too much upside. You really want to be entering at these sub to $1 regions. And again, it may be too late to enter even over here at below $1. So with that being said, it's extremely bullish. I think the most people are being rewarded right now are the people who have accumulated for that 7-year accumulation. And right now, this is kind of like that second chance, quote unquote, of opportunity to build up more XRP. So that's my current outlook on XRP. Again, this is all personal opinions. It's just for entertainment purposes. None of this is financial advice, but I can give you my conviction just based on what the Elliott Wave Theory is telling us. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful on the shorter time frames. We'll have another update, so make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And the more you guys show interest, and the more you guys also show the interest behind these altcoins, especially for XRP, the more videos I'll be able to pump out. So thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Bye-bye.